The 2016 college football season should be really interesting. And I wanted to make a video we're about roughly a month or so from the start of the first games, giving my quick preview of the season, and I'm going to give my 5 conference winners for the 5 Power 5 conferences and then pick my national champion. A couple of things before I do that. The first thing I would recommend, whether you're a hardcore college football fan, moderate, or you only watch like 2 or 3 games a year, I would recommend the magazine that Phil Steele puts out. It's really, really good. One of the traditions I have every year towards the end of July, beginning of August, is I get Phil Steele's magazine, the college football preview. I get a big cup of coffee and I just dive through the magazine. It's really good. It's filled with really good info. Even if you don't necessarily agree with his predictions, although a lot of them tend to be accurate, or if you don't have to agree with everything, but just it's presented in a really good way. So I would recommend that if you've never heard of it or heard about it and wasn't sure. It should be at any local bookstore. You can get it online as well. It's highly, highly recommend. Also, my predictions and picks for the 14 playoff, I will do that, but I'll take every opportunity to talk about the playoff that I would love to see college football go to an 18 playoff. A couple of years ago, I made a video discussing what my playoff system would be that involves 18s, and it's still up on my channel if you want to go watch it. The quick snapshot of it is that there's 18s, 5 conference winners of the Power 5 get an automatic bid, 3 what you could call wild cards that are chosen by a committee. That would include the rest of the teams in the Power 5, all of the non-Power 5 teams, and then Notre Dame as well. Because if they aren't in a conference, then they couldn't really qualify for an automatic berth. But they would certainly be up for one of those 3 wildcard spots. So that's my proposal. But we don't have that. We have the 4 team. So I'm going to stick with that and give what I think how it's going to play out. So my picks for each conference, the Big Ten, I'm going to go with Ohio State to win it. I know it's not the most original pick. Both Michigan teams, Michigan and Michigan State, I think will be really good. Michigan, second year under Harbaugh, they're ramping things up a little bit. Michigan State has been a really consistent team the past couple of years. That's in the East. Also, I think Penn State this year could be a potential major sleeper team. If they get their offense sorted out, I think they have a really good player in Saquon Barkley. In the West, there's Iowa again, who had the great year last year. And you have teams like Nebraska, who look at solid Wisconsin. But in the end, I'm going to go with Ohio State to win the conference. So then going to the ACC, another tough call. But I'm going to go with Clemson, who is obviously the defending ACC champion from last year, made it to the title game. I'm going to go with them to win the conference. It was tough to not pick Deshaun Watson here. Florida State has a really good team. Will have a really good team this year, probably. There's a bunch of other good teams in the ACC. But I just couldn't pick against this Clemson team after what they did last year. Someone has definitely, I think, has to knock them off. And Florida State is capable for sure, but I'm going to go with Clemson. So the SEC, this is probably my first a little surprise maybe, but I'm actually going to pick Tennessee to win the whole conference. I think they'll win the East Division. I think I don't want to say by far the most talented team in the East Division, but I think that they for sure are the most talented team in the East Division. In the West, which is, I think most people would agree, has been the strongest side of the conference the past couple of years. Obviously, you have the defending champion, Alabama. You have LSU, who returns a lot. And then you have teams like Ole Miss, Arkansas, who are trending up. We'll see about Texas A&M. So the reason, and then I think a lot of people will, for overall SEC champion, go with one of the West teams, and that's understandable because they are good. But I'm gonna go with Tennessee here. I'm putting some faith in Tennessee, and I think that they have a really good year. So I'm gonna go with Tennessee to win the SEC East, and then win the title game in Atlanta to be SEC conference champs. So going over to the Big 12 now. This is a tough one. They're the only Power 5 conference not to have a title game. It's a regular season round robin style thing. But I'm going to go with, I went back and forth on this so much, but in the end I'm going to go with TCU. I couldn't decide between TCU and Oklahoma. They were the two that I just went back and forth and back and forth. I like both teams, but yeah, I don't necessarily feel great about not picking Oklahoma because I think they're going to be really good, but I'm just going to go with TCU here. A team to really look out for in the Big 12. I almost picked them to win the Big 12. I didn't quite pull the trigger on it, but they should be really good this year. Is Texas, the Longhorns. And then I think the really interesting dynamic in the Big 12 this year is that Baylor, the past couple of years, has really been a dominant team in the Big 12. And with the offseason trouble that they've had, it'll be tough for them to, keep that momentum going. So we'll see. But so I'll go with TCU in the Big 12. And then Pac-12 should be another tight race. I'm going to go with Stanford to win the North and then win the conference championship. I'm going with Stanford. Obviously, you have McCaffrey. David Shaw, who's a coach, has definitely proven, they've been a winning team the past since he's taken over, and before that as well. Oregon, I think, will be solid this year as they've been, but I'm just not sure that they'll have quite the talent, and they're breaking in another quarterback again. And then the team to look out for here is Washington, under Chris Peterson, the former Boise coach. They have a potentially really tough team this year. Those three are all in the North. And then in the South, of course, you have USC, UCLA, the Arizona teams, who should be both solid. But again, I'm going with Stanford to win the conference outright. So my 5 conference champs out of the Big 5 are Ohio State, Clemson, TCU, Stanford, and Tennessee. The 4 teams that I'm going to have going to the playoff are Stanford, not in order of rankings, but Stanford, Clemson, Tennessee, and Ohio State. Those 4, which would leave TCU out, which is tough. I'm not, because they got left out a couple years ago. But that's just kind of how I formulated it. So, and then for national championship, out of those 4, I'm going to go with Clemson. I think that, again, they have Deshaun Watson, who had an incredible year last year. He's back, of course. If they stay healthy, I think that they'll have a tough game with Florida State, but if they get through them, I think they'll have that experience from last year. They played so well, really, in both their playoff games last year. Of course, they lost the national championship, but I thought they played really well. And when you return your star player like that, I think there's no reason for them not to be back there. So that's why I'm going with them. So those are my picks. Should be a fun year. We got some time before the season starts. It can be an injury here or there, but hopefully not. Hopefully everyone's healthy and it's a good year, and it should be a great year. A lot of good teams. So thanks for watching. Clemson is my national champ, and then the 5 Power 5 teams are conference winners are Clemson, Ohio State, TCU, Stanford, and Tennessee. So I'm putting a lot of faith in Tennessee. And then last thing I'll mention is that Notre Dame's not in a Power 5 conference, but they should have a good team as well. I didn't put them in the playoff, but they had a great year last year, and I think that they'll have a good year as well. I didn't find a spot to put them into the playoff, but they should be good. So Clemson is my national champ. Let me know if you have picks before the year start. Either email me or drop them in the comments. There's a lot of people putting picks out there, and there's a lot of fun to compare. So thanks for watching.